Now playing.
You don't need another sign. You need courage. And courage doesn't arrive before the decision, it arrives because of it.
This is the Thought Exchange.
Hey, how are you? Good, I hope you're doing great. If this is your first time here, welcome home. If not, welcome back. Good to see you again. Let's get into it. Let me say something that might hit a little bit harder than you expect. You don't need another confirmation. You don't need another sign. You don't need another excuse. You need to make a tough decision, and that's the issue. We live in a time where we're constantly searching for reassurance. Another tarot reading, another sermon, another podcast episode, another, if this is meant to be, show me a sign. But what if the signal already came? What if the discomfort that you feel every day is a sign? What if the anxiety is a sign? What if the exhaustion from repeating the same cycles over and over is a sign? Sometimes we're not confused, we're just afraid. We tell ourselves that we're seeking clarity, but really we're just postponing courage. We ask 5 different friends for advice, hoping that one of them gives us the advice that we want to hear. We scroll endlessly, hoping that something validates our hesitation. We pray for a green light when deep down we already know the answer. Because clarity isn't the problem. The problem is that clarity requires action. And action requires loss of comfort, loss of familiarity, loss of the version of us that's been surviving instead of growing. A tough decision usually asks you to walk away from something you love, outgrow a version of yourself, risk being misunderstood, choose long-term peace over short-term comfort. And healing doesn't happen when you gather more information. It happens when you decide. You decide to stop texting them. You decide to apply for that job. You decide to go to therapy. You decide to forgive. You decide to leave. You decide to stay, but differently. Growth isn't about signs, it's about ownership. And here's what we don't say out loud. If I make a decision, I can't blame anyone else. If I don't leave, it's on me. If I don't start, it's on me. If I don't change, it's on me. As long as we're waiting on confirmation, we can pretend that we're stuck. But once we admit that we know what to do, now we're responsible. And responsibility is heavy, but it's also freeing. When you finally decide, even if it's scary, something shifts. You stop negotiating with your potential. You stop romanticizing your wounds. You stop excusing your fear. You become someone who trusts themselves, someone who trusts in the foundation of healing. Not perfection, not certainty, not having it all figured out, just trust. If you've been asking for a sign, this is it. If you've been waiting for clarity, you probably have it. If you've been stuck in a cycle, the exit requires a decision. Not a miracle, not more validation, not another late night overthinking session, a decision. Yes, it might hurt, but staying stuck hurts too. And at least growth pain leads to somewhere. You know, healing isn't glamorous. Growth isn't an aesthetic. Transformation isn't convenient. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely sometimes. It's terrifying, but it's worth it. You know, you don't need another sign. You need courage. And courage doesn't arrive before the decision. It arrives because of it. Make the decision. Your future self is waiting for you. That's all I have for this episode. If it spoke to you, share it with someone you think needs it. Subscribe, like, comment if that's what you want to do. As always, I want to thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts with you. See y'all the next time. Love y'all. Peace.
This is the Thought Exchange with Tony